January 20th, time being 8:45 PM. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Arnett.
Here.
Alderwoman Erickson.
Here.
Alderman Fritsch is absent. Alderwoman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Kreinbrink is absent. Alderman Lilbrandt.
Here.
Alderman Robinson is absent, and Alderman White Cotton.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. We'll continue on. Any audience comments? I've received none. All right, I'll move on to consent agenda. The consent agenda is a motion to approve all the items as a whole. All matters are considered routine unless council desires to enact one by one motion. You may do so. If you decide to remove an item, that item can be removed from the consent agenda, considered separately. They are as follows: approval of the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of January 6, 2025. Item B, approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 6, 2025, and approval of the monthly treasurer's report. Is there a motion to approve those items on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Littlebrandt and
Second.
Erickson. I did hear you, so. All right, I did send the clerk one change. I think there was a notation on the minutes that I had indicated that the machine should be unplugged. That was not my comment. The owner had recommended that he could unplug it, and I told him not to do so until we determined it was legal or not. And the treasurer's report you have, we're still good financial standing. So, a motion, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Mayor's report. It's fortunate our officers left. I wanted to thank them as we recognize National Law Enforcement Day that occurred this month. And Chief Sandy's here, so thank you. You passed it on to the officers and our staff there as well. I want to make a comment. I know public comment last time, Ms. Woodlow indicated, I think she alluded to the fact that I was not very responsive to her. I did go back and look through my email. Unfortunately, she's not here tonight, but I will point out that she did email me on August 21st, 2023. 1:30 p.m., I responded back to her on Tuesday, August 22nd at 6:45 in the morning. She emailed me again on August 28th at 2:40 p.m. I responded back to her on Tuesday, August 29th at 6:59 a.m. So both times, it was less than 24 hours. So, and each time I did indicate, staff was reviewing that and legal was. So you email me, I get back to you. I get a lot of All right, attorney report.
Most of my stuff is further down on the agenda, so.
Okay, no report. Clerk EE.
No report.
City Administrator Jeff Petman.
Good evening. Just wanted to point out to you, we did have Ian Bergen start as our our building and zoning official on January 13th. Todd Steffens is home, finally, from the hospital. He's doing better is what I understand, so, but still getting around. Todd was able to retire at the end of December, but we are wishing him the best going forward. We also had a wastewater operator person start today. Matthew Pollock began at the wastewater treatment plant. That's to fill that 50-50 slot that we had in the budget. We're going to move Joe from the wastewater plant into kind of that 50-50 role, and then Matt is kind of backfilling that at the wastewater treatment plant. So we're hoping that that can begin to, get some things taken care of over there. They haven't been able to do a whole lot with preventative maintenance as they'd like, especially with the project going on. I did put all this in my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but given time, I'm going to stop now.
Yeah, we'll say too that we would like to do a reception for Todd Steffens. It's just that the timing of his health hasn't made that possible. We will try to make that happen here in the next month or two. So we can recognize his service as well and have something for him. So don't think that we didn't do it, it just the timing wasn't appropriate.
Correct.
All right, city reports. EMA Director Tony Eberly.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, Police Chief Senni.
Nothing further.
Council reports. Alderman Arnett.
Nothing further.
Alderwoman Erickson.
Nothing, thank you.
Alderwoman Johnson.
Nothing further, thanks.
Alderman Littlebrandt.
Nothing, thank you.
Alderman White Cotton.
I just have one thing, maybe for our next committee of the whole meeting, I'd like to put it on the agenda to discuss a water line replacement we did at 118 East 3rd Street in some of the decision-making process and what we're gonna need to do in the future, how to decide what to do with those situations. So I think we should talk about it.
Okay, Jeff will have that on the agenda, be on the committee of the whole. All right, old business. So as you know, it's been carried over for discussion on accepting the developer agreement. Is there anyone that wishes to take that up? If not, then I'll come back in an updated form. Item B was possible discussion and action on the request to authorize the mayor to execute a pre-annexation agreement with Doug Arneson for 21 Glady Road. So you did hear that conversation tonight. Is there any desire to take that up?
Yes.
Okay, is that a motion, Alderwoman Johnson?
I'll motion to take that up, please. Yes.
Okay, so you would like us to take up the pre-annexation agreement. That'll be the City of Sandwich at 144 East Railroad and Doug Arneson of 335 Park Avenue, Sheridan. That is his address, but the address pertaining to this approval is 21 Glady Road. Is there a
Correct.
second? Or should I ask for that first?
Who seconded on that?
No one yet. I'm asking for a second.
Second it.
Alderman White Cotton. Okay, floor is open for any discussion.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I've seen their pop-up in Waterman. They look very busy when they do it. Everyone here loves Faze, longstanding in our community. So I think it'd be a great trial run for them to do it on the Super Bowl. And hopefully with the reception that they get, they'll want to continue on with moving a business here. So I'm very much for it.
Okay, other comments?
Do we suspect that they're gonna have to do anything through, planning and zoning in regards to the traffic going through that?
So the way this works is that's just basically lining them up to come to us. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the pre-agreement. At some point, they will have to come back with traffic count and a plan with that as well. That'll come back actually when we annex them and they have further plans for us to consider. So how this came about was we had other properties that wanted to annex into the city or have discussions with us. They went to the county recommended that they talk with us as well, because there is that desire. But sometimes you can't get through the right properties to make that all happen, and other times we can't bring all the resources. In this case, neither can the county, right? They're not gonna run sewer and water lines to that. They're gonna give them whatever use that they can. So a couple other properties had gone in differently. Roberts Farms, one example. I like Joe, I had a conversation with him, like, I was at the county's hearing for that as well. Jeff was there as well. We did not oppose it, but I did tell Joe, when we get to that point, where you're basically going to have to annex into the city, you will have to follow our code at that point in time and our requirements. He's aware of that. But there's other properties, right? The church out there has asked as well if they can come in. We're just not where we can do that legally because we're not next to them. So this was the county's recommendation. We've had other agreements where we've taken control over other properties, the Pratt Road Bridge, some of the county line property with maintenance and oversight of that. So this was the county's agreement too, that we do this. We've done one other property, the church up north as well. So they see us getting out to that property at some point in time, and they recommended that we follow this process.
Yeah, I to be clear, I'm interested in them coming for sure, for my personal benefit.
Okay, fair enough. So they're technically still a county, but we have some jurisdiction over that. And we may get to them sooner than we think. We don't know. There's just a lot of other conversations, but they did have a desire to come right to the city, and this is kind of our agreement with the county.
Thank you.
Question I do have, so even though they're still county pre-annexation, if we do pass something having to do with business licensing, would that business licensing then transfer into sales tax to the city of Sandwich or anything like that?
Under the pre-annexation?
Pre-annexation.
It would certainly depend on whatever your licensing requirements would be. Under just the way it is with the pre-annexation agreement, no. So, but it could be potentially pursuant to whatever you put in your requirements for your business licensing.
Yeah, I mean, we could get out there sooner than we think, just to let you know, right? There's other property out there that has a desire to maybe work with us. The county's gonna give them a special use. It's nothing long-term either. That's not the first person that's came to talk to us about that property as the city. There's been at least one or two other potential businesses that have addressed the similar concern with them. This is the first one that came through the full process.
And just a little bit more background. I think because if you look at the DeKalb County Comprehensive Plan, right, on where everything is falling, the county would much rather the municipality that's going to eventually have to deal with this property to deal with it, because it's what is it, a 20-year plan, I think? So that's what and the county is doing that in multiple municipalities around. They're just trying to make some of that happen sooner rather than later if possible. So I think that it can work out really well for us.
Okay, everybody good? Okay, so we have a motion and a second to vote on the pre-annexation agreement. Entering into agreement with Doug Arneson for 21 Gladdy Road. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Sorry, and just to be clear, it's a motion to authorize the mayor
Mayor
to
sign the agreement.
execute the pre-annexation agreement.
Old business B. Total B.
Okay, we set?
Yep.
All right, Alderman Littlebrand,
Aye.
Alderman White Cotton,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
and Alderwoman Johnson.
Okay. Motion passes. I'll sign the agreement. We'll continue working with the owner and the business. All right, next item we have is item 13A, new business, that is approval of monthly bills. Are there any changes from the Finance Committee?
No.
Okay, then the amount will be $1,669,463.60. Is there a motion to approve 13A, our monthly bills?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Alderwoman Johnson, is there a second?
Second?
Alderman Littlebrandt, any discussion on the bills or questions? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman White Cotton,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson, Alderwoman Johnson,
Aye.
and Alderman Littlebrand.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Okay, next item is item B. This is discussion and possible action to consider ordinance 2025-02. This is to ban sweepstakes machines within the city limits of Sandwich. Before I take the motion, I think it's important that our attorney give us a review of what the ordinance addresses and what we'll be voting on.
Pretty straightforward. Basically, we have the authority to make regulations. We have the authority for video gaming. And the background is just that we want to ensure that the people that have gone through the appropriate process to get the video gaming licenses and are paying I think it might be $75 now per terminal.
125.
125, okay, went up. But so they're paying that fee to us. They're paying their share of the state revenue and all of that, and to the city. And so just to make sure that we keep them in good standing. And I can't recall if I had already said before, there are some class action lawsuits by just consumers against these sweepstakes companies, because people use them thinking that they are typical video gaming terminals, and they are not, in fact, typical video gaming terminals. And so the idea is that we don't think that they're appropriate in Sandwich, and by passing this ordinance, we're adding a provision into our video gaming code, or a video gaming section of our code, to say that these machines are prohibited. And again, and you don't have to take the Illinois Gaming Commission as, the end-all be-all, but from their perspective, they do not believe that these machines are legal. But there has not really been any discussion on them by the legislature as a whole.
Okay, so I gave you the information. I think you've seen pictures of it. I think we all need to maybe understand where we need to go with this vote to make things right. So, okay, is there a motion to approve ordinance 2025 banning sweepstakes machines within the city limits of Sandwich?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Alderwoman Erickson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is that Alderman White Cotton?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I had Alderman White Cotton makes the second. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Okay, Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Littlebrand,
Aye.
Alderman White Cotton,
Aye.
and Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. I'll go ahead and sign the ordinance as soon as the clerk prepares it. We'll notify the business owner as well as any others that we find. All right, item C is discussion of possible action to authorize a request made to the planning commission to allow residential use in a B2 zoning district at 1208 Old Route 34. I remind you that the motion must be made in a positive motion. So that means if you vote no, you'll be voting it down. That is a recommendation of staff.
And I just want to, I don't know who may have been able to be present there at the meeting. Just so everyone knows, someone I believe is living in this place. And it was suggested that they come before the commission and ask for a variance. There was another individual who owns the neighboring property, who had said that, oh, he might want a variance too. I think this is on a pretty busy area for Sandwich that is specifically designated, a business district for a reason. So the commission did, I think they made a motion not to recommend, or maybe I can't recall. But the applicant did ask that it still come before the board or the city council. So I would recommend that just to get it off of our books and get it where we've taken care of it, that someone make a motion to authorize the zoning request. And then just remember that even if you make the motion and you second it, you can still say no.
Okay.
Everyone can say no, even if you make a motion and you second it.
Okay, so this is new business 13C. Is there a motion to allow residential use in a B2 zone district at 12208 Old Route 34?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Littlebrand, second by Alderwoman Johnson. Any discussion?
Discussion, yes. The only thing I would like to see is if we do have people living in the home, obviously children were brought up due to the fact that the school notified us that they are living out there. How long are they going to be given? Because I do not want to see kids get kicked out into the snow this time of year. Are we giving them 3 months, 6 months? Where are we at with this?
So my understanding is that the way this came about is someone went there to tell them that they needed to get out, and then their heart was on their sleeve and they did not. And so here is where we're at. It is up to the city to enforce its codes at the rate in which it chooses to enforce its codes. I would agree that it's not in anyone's best interest, but just because we find that it's not an appropriate use, we can issue a violation, and it would be up to the owner of the property to determine how they want to handle that, right? Because the one thing that they're going to be faced with now is possibly an eviction. And so we can't necessarily get involved with that aspect of it. So my suggestion would be, if this does not pass, that they are issued a violation, and then they contact us within X amount of days to give us the plan of how they're going to go about it. And, the tally starts running.
So to be clear, the property owner did not come and ask for a variance.
The owner of
Yes,
the property.
the owner of the property is the one that asked
After
after.
they leased the property
Oh.
as residential, which is what it is not zoned, and the school notified us to confirm that they have a residency requirement under the school code, and that's how we found out about it. I've advised Jeff what I think is probably an appropriate time frame for the residential individual to vacate the property. I agree with you. This is not the time to pack up and leave. So we'll take the vote tonight. We will notify the owner of the property, and we will notify the tenant, and we'll give them a time frame to move. And I think that's fair.
I think 90 days is fair. I mean,
That sounds about what I told Jeff. 3 months, I think him and I talked about, that puts us into the spring, and that's a good time frame for someone to find another place that they start looking. Everybody good? Okay, so we have a motion to allow for the residential use at 1208 Old Route 34, and you received staff's recommendation not to support this. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Arnett,
no.
Alderman Whitecotton,
No.
Alderwoman Erickson,
No.
Alderwoman Johnson,
No.
and Alderman Lilbrandt.
No.
All right, the motion is denied. It does not pass. We will notify the owner and the resident. Okay, item 14A. Executive session is requested pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C11. That is litigation when an action against affecting or on behalf of a particular body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that action is probable. Is there a motion to enter into closed session to discuss that matter?
Motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Arnett, second by Alderwoman Johnson. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Whitecotton,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderwoman Erickson,
Aye.
Alderman Johnson,
Aye.
and Alderman Lilbrandt.
Aye.
Okay, we'll meet in the back room where we normally do. For those of you in the audience, I don't expect it to take too long.